Welcome to the Moodie Davitt Podcast, in video form this time. I'm Martin Moodie. You know, today was one of those days when I realized just how much I love my job. As regular readers of my blog will know, I'm passionate about wine, a category I love to champion in travel retail, as I still think it doesn't always get the tender, loving care it deserves. Another passion, though alas not a skill, despite nearly 6 decades of trying, is golf. I love golf, but golf does not love me, and a varied succumbing down the years to chronic hooking, slicing, and even the dreaded yips has convinced me that the best place for me to partake in the sport is from my living room couch and watch the masters at work. Now, one of those masters is Ian Woosnam, the great Welsh golfer, who indeed did win the Masters in 1991, one of the majors, and one of the many great triumphs during a stellar career that continues to this day on the senior tour. Now, we may not share the same ability on a golf course, but Ian and I share a love of wine, and earlier this week I spoke to him about his involvement in Wines of Golf Legends, the brilliant initiative from French wine company Peuch Besse that marries friendship, golf, and wine with some clever technology and some lovely storytelling. Ian has embraced the project with great enthusiasm, and his name and his personality and his stamp is all over one of the first wines to be released in the Wines of Golf Legends range, Château Pas du Cerf, a delicious, fresh, beautifully crisp rosé from Côtes de Provence. I caught up with Ian and the winemaker who created this lovely wine, Aurore Legrand. Now, this is my kind of podcast. I've got to tell you, I get to speak to one of my sporting heroes, a great winemaker. And oh yes, naturally, we had to open a bottle or two while we were at it. One has to do one's research, you know. Here's me talking to Ian Woosnam and Aurore Legrand a little earlier. How did you get involved, Ian, and how did the process unfold?
Well, I've always been interested in wine, especially drinking it, but I've always been thinking of always having sort of like my own winery or my own bottles or something. And then when Savine came to me and put this in front of me, and I thought, well, what a wonderful idea. It's not about making any money, but I think it's about just having the thought that you're involved with a wine and and having these other golfers with it. And I thought, what a wonderful idea with, you know, having 9 different wines from all over the world. It appeals to me. It's amazing. Well, you know, you're sitting at a wine table, and if it can be golfers or it can be whatever, and I say, well, let's have a Michael Campbell tonight. Let's have a rosé, or you might have the lot. You know, start with a rosé, I would say. Start.
Yeah.
So it all depends where you are, you know, what kind of situation with me. So, yeah, then we went down and went with Aurore and did all that, and it was wonderful 3 days. And yeah, it's beautiful. And to put my name to that Provence red rosé is fantastic.
Yeah. And you said you've had an interest in wine for a long time, Ian. Where did that start, and how did it kind of evolve down the years?
Well, I wasn't a wine lover to start off with, but when you're drinking something like Limfenbadge, whatever it was called, which is probably about a pound, it just gives you a lot of indigestion. So as I obviously earned a bit more money, I started drinking better wines, and then I got the bug of it. Then 1982, as I bought a load of wine off Ronan Rafferty. Funny enough, he's right into his wines big time, and I bought a load of wines off him, and then just kept them in the cellar and drank them. But then, you know, you keep them in your cellar for years, and then you're giving them to your friends, and you realize they've gone up about 4 times as much. But that's how my interest started. And then obviously you go around the world in different restaurants, different classes of restaurants, you're drinking different wines. And that's one of my favorite things is when I'm traveling, you have to break it up a little bit. You know, you go to a nice restaurant and you try the wine from that region, that area, and it's amazing the different tastes and the textures and everything. So, yeah, I wouldn't be an expert. I used to fly home every night, every Sunday night after the tour and get back, and we used to always have a wine tasting on a Sunday night. So that was one of my favorite nights to try and get back home in time.
Right, interesting. And your take today, I mean, we'll talk about the rosé in a minute, but broadly, what do you like to drink?
Again, it all depends what region I'm in. Like exactly, if I'm in a nice sunny day, like I'm in Barbados, I'll drink rosé. Very rarely, I would drink red. Maybe at nighttime I go to red, but more rosé, and maybe white. Then if I'm in Spain, I try to stick to the Riojas. I very much like Riojas because it seems to suit my palate and my stomach. And then if I'm in France as well, I'll be drinking the classic wines from the reds from there.
Yeah, all right. And rosé, Ian, I understand, and Provence. I understand from talking to Sylvain that each of the golfers is very involved in terms of choosing the wine growing region, for example, maybe even the style of wine. Was this very deliberate on your part? You wanted a rosé, you wanted to be down in Provence?
Well, there is a Welsh wine, but they couldn't do a wet Welsh one, could they? Apparently we have just won a competition for wine in Wales, but this is where I have to sort of leave this to these guys. Savine to pick something what he knew what I would like and involve it with Aurore as well. And we are like family, really. It's sort of like we had this sort of seem to click off straight away, didn't we, Aurore? Yeah. It was easy. And what I like about it, it's natural, it's a pure wine as well.
Yeah, well, we'll try it in a minute, or Aurore and I will, Ian, anyway. But just a question. I'm sure all our listeners would love to know. Do players on the tour, Ian, tend to take a glass or two at night, or is it kind of seems a pretty serious tour, especially the American tour? Is it pretty abstemious? Tell me, do you let your hair down occasionally?
Well, but the old seniors tour what I'm on now, every lad has a couple of beers or 2 glasses of wine. Mainly, I would have thought the main tour, I would not really know because I've been off there for a long time. But if I was still on the main tour, I would still be having a couple of glasses of wine, having with my meal. I think it's essential to sort of able to relax by having a couple of glasses, and it helps with everything, really. Helps you sleep as well.
Yeah, indeed.
Relax.
I'll come to Aurore in a minute, but Ian, I've got to take you back to the wonderful moment in your life, 1991, and the Masters. I bet you had a glass that night.
I certainly did, but the thing was is that I didn't realize I had to do a dinner after it. So it was pretty late finish by the time I did all the press and everything. I think it was more like 8 o'clock, and then said you've got to go to a dinner. I ended up going to a dinner, and then after the dinner I had to go to the press, for the British press, to get it in the paper in the morning. That was 12 o'clock. I think I got back in my room to my house at about 1:30, so it was a long day. But a few drinks were taken. Yeah.
All right, Ian, I'll come back to you on your thoughts on this wine in a moment, but Aurore, now just over to you. I mean, you're a great winemaker, been involved in many vintages, many varietals, but this is a very different kind of project. Must be exciting for you.
Yes, very exciting. It's an exclusive project that we have with Ian Woosnam for this special cuvée. We selected together the grapes and the style of the wine. I know that Ian likes balanced wine, and he appreciates the freshness that we have in our wines. And it's an honor for us to have this private label with the name of Ian Woosnam, and all these projects is just incredible and very exciting for the vineyard.
Yeah, indeed. It probably doesn't show up if I show it, but it looks beautiful. Yeah, I'll just hold it closer to me. It's really lovely, and with the QR code and everything, and telling your story, Aurora, and you, Ian, talking so passionately about the wine. I think that's great for the consumers in the store. They can just scan it and they can hear Ian Woosnam talk and they can hear Aurore talk about the winemaking. And I think that just gives it authenticity, doesn't it, Ian?
Yeah, I think so. When, you know, everybody's doing that with the bottle. And I think, yeah, absolutely, you know, just be having that little bit more personal touch on it and being involved in it. And, you know, I think that needs to be, I don't know how do you word that to make sure everybody does try that, you know, not everybody just looks at it to actually scan it like that. And yeah, I watched it. I thought it came out really good. I know it took us a while to do it, but it's come out fantastic now. You know, you think, how are they going to get all this into like, you know, only 70 seconds, whatever. It's amazing. But yeah, it's done a really good job. And I think it explains it really good as well.
Yeah, indeed. Well, Aurore, why don't you, I don't know if you've got an open bottle or you're about to open one, but should we try it?
Yes, sure, with pleasure. I have here.
Oh, yeah, don't waste it.
Many bottles, but one open bottle. You see the special cuvée, Les Lavandes, that represent Provence. And there is a project that you can have just around the bottle. And it's very unique and a clever object because then you can put inside the bottle. And to try the wine, I show you here. You see, you put inside the bottle and then you can serve the wine directly.
Okay, Aurore, talk us through the wine, if you will.
Yeah, so it's a Côtes de Provence rosé wine with typical grapes from Provence like Grenache and Cinsault. It's the two main grape varieties that we have in this wine, with some Tibourin. Tibourin, it's not famous. It's a very specific grape that you can find only in Côtes de Provence appellation. And I like this wine. It's very fruity. You see, it's very aromatic, intense in the nose. You have aromas of peach and exotic fruit. It's fruity and round. And it has a nice balance, very refreshing with a nice small acidity. It's typical from our terroir because all the vines are planted on a schist soil. So it brings a lot of minerality from the rock. You remember, Ian, that we saw vines and all the schist rocks all around the grapes.
Absolutely, yeah.
And it brings that minerality. And also we are next to the sea, only 8 kilometers from the sea. So it brings minerality and freshness. So it's very juicy and refreshing.
But I've drunk a few rosés. You know, what I like of it, it holds its dryness. So it stays there and it just doesn't go away. And that's why you go back for some more.
Exactly.
Holds in your mouth, yeah. That's
well, Aurore, just a winemaking question. Ian, of course, has matured like a fine wine and kept his career going and still plays wonderfully with that beautiful, easy swing. But I guess your wine, you're going to drink this, you're going to drink it young and fresh, aren't you? This is not one for putting away. This is one for those summer nights.
Exactly. You can have for aperitif. It goes very well with grilled fish, grilled meat, also exotic food like sushi or Thai food. The rosé are very nice. And aperitif is the nice moment. Rosé, you can drink it at any time. It's moments to share with friends and family. That's really the spirit of Provence and rosé wine.
What a beautiful story. Well, look, Ian, thanks so much for being with us. Aurore, it's a beautiful collaboration.
Thank you.
The two of you. I hope it goes well. I love Ian. I told you on email the other day, I've been a lifelong fan of yours, and I remember the thrill of watching you win the Masters and play so brilliantly on so many occasions, Ryder Cup and everywhere else. You're a sporting legend and a very, very nice man, I'm told, and I've discovered that for myself. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much, Martin.
Thank you.
All right, and Aurore, thanks so much. Keep up the great winemaking, and we'll make sure that this wine, bearing the name of Mr. Ian Woosnam, does really, really well in duty free.
I'll give you a shout if I'm going through Hong Kong sometime.
All right, Ian, that would be great.
Okay, thanks very much. Thanks. Bye, Aurore. Bye.
Bye, Ian.